Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, we'll talk about a very simple concept called as default constant. So, as you would have understood by the name itself, default constant is basically that constant which provides a default value. So sometimes we don't want to insert any data, so we just want to insert some default data, right? If you don't insert the data, it will insert into a default data, right? The default is basically null in the cases, but you can specify a default value here and it will get inserted. Okay, so for that we need to use a default constant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this table that we created in the previous session. So drop tables employee. I have the create statement here, so I'm going to use the same create statement. So employee ID is number, employee name varchar to salary is number, department number is number, gender is varchar. We have a primary key on the employee ID. We have a check constraint on the salary, and we also have a gender. Right now, I want to say, let's say, if you don't specify a default department number, right? So let's say if you don't specify a department number, then by default it will basically insert a none. Okay, first let's check that. Okay, so let's say department number here, right? So this is the department number. Now I will not specify anything, I'll just say comma. I'll not specify anything. So, or let me just remove this, right? So I'm not specifying anything on the department number, I'm not giving any value. So if I execute this, I think there is some error. Okay, I have dropped this table, right? And I did not execute the create statement. So let me execute the create statement here. So the table is now created, and let me go ahead and execute this. So data is inserted. Now let me go ahead and check the table. Now you can see this department number is null because we did not specify anything. So by default, null got executed. Okay, now what I want is instead of null, if people don't specify the department, I want a default department number to be inserted. So in that case, I need to provide a default constant. So I will drop this table. So I will execute the drop command. Now here, what I'll do is it's very simple here. This is the column that I want a default value to be put, right? So I will say default. Okay. And what is the value you want to put? So here I will say the value is 10. That's it. If you want to put something here, right? Gender, you can say default, and let's say you'll put O. Because this is a varchar, you need to put it in the quotes. All right. Okay. So I have two default values. One is on the department number, one is on the gender. So now I'm going to go ahead and execute it. So table got created. So I'm inserting this data. Okay. So I have not specified the department here, but I have specified the gender, right? So I have specified EM. The default value is O, but I am already specifying, so default will not come here. So let me go ahead and execute. And if I do the select query, you can see this department number 10. So we did not specify the department number here, but because we said that by default it has to be 10, it got inserted 10. For gender also, we have specified default value is O, but since we are inserting a gender value here already, so the default value is not getting inserted because we already specified. If you don't specify the gender here, then the default value will get inserted. So let's say I'll have a new record here, and let me call this as 11 um, urban salary. Let's keep it as it is. Now here what is happening is default I have a default salary. Sorry, I have default department number. I have a default gender. I'm not adding gender and department number. So if I execute it, the row gets inserted. And when I check here, you can see, right, department number 10, which is the default. Gender is basically O, which is the default that we have specified. So if you don't specify any value, the default value will be put, and therefore you will not miss out on, like, a particular columns not having any value. It will just have a basic default value. And how to do it is very simple. You just go to the column beside it, put default, and then the value. If it is a number, just put a number as it is. If it is a string, you put it in quotes. All right, so this is the concept of default constraint. And I hope this was easy and you were able to understand it. And I'll see you guys in my next class.